Good morning, everybody. Happy 1st of February. Where did January go? We have a very full agenda this morning, so we want to get moving along. First, I'd like to thank the Red Cross. They're in the back providing coffee and some refreshments for us, so thank you very much. We appreciate it. As a reminder on your tables, you have a feedback sheet. Fill that out and leave it on the table. It's this blue and gray sheet, so you can give us comments, feedback on the updates. We appreciate that. Just leave them on the tables and we will collect them after. The sign-in roster is going around, so please make sure you update your information. If your name is not on the roster, please put your information on there. We just need name, your unit, and your email address. And then also, if you have a question, please wait for the microphone. We record this. If you don't use the microphone, then we don't capture the sound because we do post this on our community update link on the MWR website to include the slide deck is there as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Colonel Morgan.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I do want to say one thing. Hey, good morning, everybody. I do want to say one thing before we start. We've got the Department of the Army IG down here this week to talk about suicide prevention. And as you know, Dan and Alicia are going to talk about the tremendous programs we have on the installation. And a lot of those programs impact on service members. They impact on soldiers and airmen. But these programs are also extrapolated to family members. So when you look at relationships, you look at financial issues, you look at families in crisis, you look at domestic violence, we want to make sure that these programs are also getting out to family members. So in your FRGs and in your different symposiums and as you talk to different teammates on this post, I want to make sure these programs affect everyone. Because sometimes what we'll do is these programs get affected at work or at the workplace, but perhaps they also need to be brought into other people within the family. And that includes children as well. So I just want to make sure as Dan and Alicia talk about the programs today, we were very proud to talk to the IG yesterday about what goes on in this installation, but these kinds of forums are essential to get the message out on what's available on this installation, not just for the health and readiness of our soldiers and airmen, but also for the readiness of our families. So thanks very much, and I'm going to turn it over to Dan Morgan.
Good morning, everyone. Here's our agenda today. It kind of got shifted a little bit based off of some priority things that we kind of want to talk about, particularly today. But as you see up there, again, I'm going to go back. When we do our Health Promotion Council every quarter, the way we're trying, again, to get this focus for a community update is that exactly the way that General Lanza just brought up, is to start talking to you about the priorities that we have on the base for the health and the well-being of the base, whether you're a service member, family, or Department of the Army civilian that supports everybody here on the base. And so today, based off of some of the things that we went through a couple weeks ago, our chaplain, the installation chaplain, is going to talk about fostering some healthy relationships, and he's going to go over some of the programs and services and some advice from his chaplaincy in order to help all of you. And again, to be able to take that down through the FRG chain of concern to communicate it down to the lowest level for our family members and soldiers. We're also going to talk about our school updates with regards to the PCS Season 2 because we have a huge transition period coming up starting this April all the way through the summer, particularly from the 06 Colonel Command basically across the board and up. So a lot of transition coming on, so sponsorship and everything else tied into that, you can see the breadth of the challenge. Mike Place is going to get up here. And he's going to talk about a thing called Genesis, which has to do with medical records. And so you need to listen to that because there's some big changes, and Colonel Place and his team is actually leading the Army with regards to this, if not DOD. So it's an important topic to hear about. And then we'll go through the typical updates with regards to what's going on at the base from the team. So I'd like to bring up Lisa Hallett to talk about some of the things with regards to Wear Blue, which is a program that helps Gold Star youth and families, along with some other things that are going on in the area. Again, here, these are just our priorities. There's no change to them. I just bring it back into what we look at here on the right, which you heard General Lanza talk about. And this is how we tie our programs and services and capabilities back to you. And we need feedback. Feedback is a gift. So please tell me what we need to actually improve on, not just with the meeting itself, how to get the information flow back to you, but what programs and services that you want to see, feel, and touch, on behalf of your family. So, Lisa? Yes, right now.
Well, there's a lot of pressure to kick off this meeting. I didn't bring any jokes, but my name's Lisa Hallett, and I'm the co-founder of Wear Blue Run to Remember. And I see many runners from the community here in this room, which is nice to see a familiar face. But Wear Blue Run to Remember is a running community that honors the service and sacrifice of the American military. And we're born right here out of Joint Base Lewis McChord. In 2009, 5th Stryker Brigade deployed to southern Afghanistan, and my husband, John, along with 40 other soldiers, were killed in that combat. And as a community, we were looking for a way to support one another, to honor our fallen, and really heal, survive, and move forward during a difficult deployment. And we found running to be a powerful medium to empower ourselves, establish healthy coping mechanisms, and to support one another. When the unit came home, we recognized that our families needed a place to reconnect. And quite often, as we are all familiar, words aren't always readily available after a difficult deployment. And we found that in weekly training runs, these weekly community events, we didn't have to have the right words, and that we were literally and figuratively able to find common footing to move forward with our lives and our families through running and community. Wear Blue now has 50 running communities across the country that gather on a regular basis. We start every run with a circle of remembrance, calling out the names of fallen service members who've been killed on that weekend in the global war on terror. And then we invite the community to call out the names of service members personal to themselves, whom they would like to honor with their steps and their lives forward in that run. And we use these training runs as a place to establish healthy coping mechanisms and to support one another. And we have two exciting events starting here in the Joint Base Lewis McChord community that I really want to invite the military leadership here to engage your units so that we can work together to support our military and their families. And the first is the Rock and Roll Seattle Marathon. And so Rock and Roll Seattle Marathon is our flagship race. And every year we have hundreds of runners in blue shirts running to honor our fallen military and to celebrate our actively serving. And we meet every Saturday morning at DuPont, in DuPont, Washington, at Powder Works Park at 9 a.m. And we always have a free training run. So there's always a 3-mile stroller, family-friendly route. And then there's longer marked routes for individuals training for a half and full marathon. And it's a really great place to provide a healthy support mechanism for your families. And there's a playground. And I'd like to invite you to invite your units, your families, to come join a Saturday run. There's no RSVP, there's no fees. The first Saturday of the month is our social Saturday. There's coffee and snacks, there's a playground for the children, but it is an infrastructure built in for your units, a healthy way for families to connect with one another, and it takes on that task of honoring the fallen and ensuring that our units are carrying on that responsibility of remembering their fallen heroes and showing the support for their families they've left behind. In doing so, I have cards that advertise the run, and then we'll push out the information to share with your units. In doing so, we'll lead up to the Rock and Roll Marathon, and at the Rock and Roll Marathon, we'll build a tribute mile to fallen service members. And we want to make sure that we are honoring Joint Base Lewis McChord's fallen service members at that Wear Blue mile. And so I invite you to connect with me or Denny in the blue shirt. If we could talk about different ways that we can send a Wear Blue representative to connect with your units and share with them more about Wear Blue and ways that they can either join our Saturday runs or train for and run the Rock and Roll Seattle Marathon. And then the second opportunity that I want to share with you is our new Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program. And this is going to start April 1st and run through Memorial Day weekend. And our goal with this program is to pair active duty military with children of fallen service members. And when my husband was killed, my children were 3, 1, and 3 weeks old. And they'll never get to know John, right? They will never know him as we had visioned. But John was a soldier, and he was passionate about that service. And I hope that in this mentorship program, we have the chance for children of fallen service members to get to understand more about their hero through a relationship and an understanding with the military. And so in doing so, we'll be able to shed light on the life of their fallen parent, but also to build a bridge with the military. My children were supposed to be military children, and in creating these mentorship opportunities, they're going to get to again be military children. And I would like to invite the leadership in this room to help me identify strong mentors for all of our Gold Star youth here in this community. We have 102 Gold Star children between ages 6 and 18 in Pierce County, and our goal is to connect with them. We have a pretty quick turnaround, and we're working with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And on this handout, there's a link for people to register. And we need mentors, quality mentors who are interested in supporting a child of a fallen hero, who can make a commitment on Saturdays in April and May to run with a child of a fallen service member. But we need this screening to start in the next couple of weeks. And so my ask for you is to help me identify strong mentors to support children of fallen service members. And then we'll carry them through the process, weekly runs. Big Brothers and Big Sisters will conduct a screening process to ensure that we're making healthy and safe matches for our children. Does anyone have any questions about the Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program? Does anyone have any questions about Saturday runs and training for the Rock and Roll Marathon? Both of these programs have been a huge part of my healing as a Gold Star spouse, and I think very empowering and life-affirming for all of our military families. So I appreciate your support in helping us grow a very vibrant, healthy community here at Joint Base McChord's back door, as well as identifying strong mentors for our military youth. Thank you.
Good morning, leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chaplain Mark Gauthier, the Garrison Chaplain and Senior Pastor for the Lewis, Maine Protestant Service. Are you ready for a brief religious experience this morning? You look up here, you'll see some of the services that we have going on. These particularly are targeted to family members, spouses, or those who are in the military. Protestant Women of the Chapel, Awanas, which is kind of a youth religious education program, and then mothers of preschoolers to get a few minutes of sanity through the busyness of your schedule and your activities. Also, our Grace Gospel service will be supporting the Black History Concert and some Catholic community events as our Lenten season comes online. Now, what I'd like to talk with you briefly about an initiative here at JBLM called the Hope Initiative or the Hope Theory. Occasionally, as a chaplain, I use the word hope, and a commander comes back to me and says, "Chaplain, hope is not a course of action." I respond to him, "No, but it's a quality of life measure." And if you think about soldiers who are at the place of self-destructive behavior or family members, you'll often hear three words verbally or non-verbally. I feel hopeless, helpless, and worthless. And so what the Hope Initiative helps to do is to gauge in some level of objectivity where a service member or a family member's hope is. And it focuses on these two things: agency, willpower, pathways, way power. The willpower really assesses the intestinal fortitude of that individual to get from point A to whatever the point B that they're working on. The way power, that focuses on, if I'm stuck in the wait a minute vines, do I know the path that gets me out of there? And when you combine those two things together, you have a goal or a goal attainment, and that's what the focus on the Hope Initiative is all about. A question that's always hard when you're asked is, what is the morale? You know, based on how you're doing, are you looking at life through rose-colored or manure-colored glasses? It's going to affect your ability to gauge the morale. So what the Hope Initiative is, through a series of 12 questions of a survey that you could give within 15 minutes, gauges where people's hope lies in three different categories. And I know commanders are always looking for gauges on their dashboards to assess the morale of a unit. What the Hope Initiative does, it gives you some level of objectivity to see collectively where a unit is, or different elements of that organization, or those particular individuals. This is also something that could be done in an FRG. wives group, and it has utilization, and it's really so simple that it could be used even down to the team level. So let's talk very briefly about fostering healthy relationships. I'd like to introduce you to John and Ann Bitar. They are the current record holders of the longest couple married together, 83 years. How'd you like to be them? Now, he looks a little dazed and confused right here, doesn't he? But I think he grew into it after those 83 years. She's smiling a little bit longer. Now, what a great testimony. I would trade in all of Michael Phelps' world records to break this one. And isn't it true that every couple enters here and they're looking for that happily ever after storyline? Nobody looks to enter into a relationship to be miserable and to suffer. They want it to go well. So how do you go from I do until death do us part? And so we'll talk very briefly about that. So I want to give you a graphic here. All of your relationships are like a love bank. And this is a picture so easy even an infantryman can understand. So you're in the right place, okay? To have a healthy relationship, you have to make more, what? Deposits than withdrawals. Deposits are love makers, withdrawals are love breakers. So if you think about your particular relationships, are you a giver? Are you an investor? Are you one who's drawing out of those relationships? All of us have counseled service members, family members who have written checks until the checkbook was gone, right? They became overdrawn. So if you want a healthy relationship, more deposits than withdrawals. Last week, my wife left me. The good news is she's coming back in 3 weeks. She went to see her mother. But she did something really neat. She took a series of plastic hearts and hid the plastic hearts all over the house. I found one on the neck of a beer bottle, in my sock drawer, in all kinds of different places. And that may sound kind of schmaltzy to you, but although she was away, she was making deposits into the relationship even while she was away. So think about that in your relationships. How do you invest? How do you make deposits? So easy, even a grunt can understand it, right? But Houston, we have a problem. There is a glitch in our operating system. And what that glitch does, it makes us default to always think about what about me before I think what about you. And so people enter into a relationship with a set of expectations. I married you to make me happy. I married you to make me secure. I married you for sex. You fill in the blank, whatever that is. And it sets up that balance where we are pulling out of the relationship, making withdrawals and not making deposits. So what does that look like? Here's a word picture for you. If we default to the what about me relationships, we have parasitic relationships and mosquito marriages. Now, if you're in a relationship, don't be that person. Don't be this individual. But that's exactly what we become when we're seeking to suck the life out of that relationship with an expectation that you make me happy. Now think about this. Think about two remora eels stuck to each other, two mosquitoes stuck to each other. How do you think that relationship is going to go? Two people completely sucking the life out of a relationship. It's not going to work. Those are love breakers. They are withdrawals from the relationship bank account. On the other hand, cat and dog, they do have some differences to overcome, don't you think? There's some coding in the DNA that's not quite right, but cat and dog here are committed into the relationship to make the deposits. So as different as someone might be, even when they're hard to understand, think about making a deposit versus making a withdrawal. So as we're thinking about the love bank, if you want to have a good investment strategy, what kind of a portfolio do you want to have? A diversified portfolio, right? A good market, stocks, bonds, maybe a little bit of real estate, some money market funds. And when your portfolio is diversified, it helps to weather the storms and the ups and downs of the different markets. So when you think about making deposits, think about a diversified relational portfolio for the inputs that you provide in those folks. I'm sure many of you recommend these. The 5 different love languages are those types of things to do. The physical touch, receiving gifts, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time. Each one of those is a different type of investment that when you understand your significant other, you can more effectively make those investments in their lives. So what's it all about? Healthy relationships go the distance. When you think about, when you look at a tombstone, you basically have 3 bits of information. You have the date of birth, the date of death, and you have a dash. But when you think about what your life is all about, it's all about the dash between the dates. That's what really matters, that dash between the dates. And I would say the more that you make deposits in relationships of those around you, the more full your dash is going to be because of your investment in relationships. You may not be able to read this, but here they are, together in life and together again. And notice this word, devoted, husband, dad, granddad, great-granddad, devoted, wife, mom, nan, great-nan. I would say this is an example of a couple who made more deposits than withdrawals in their life. A preacher once said that he was preaching a funeral message to a young person and a family who had passed away. And he spoke to the kids and he said, "Children, one day you're going to die. They're going to put you in a hole, throw dirt on your face, and go back to church and eat potato salad. And once you go back there, you have one or two things. You have titles or you have testimonies. The titles are those things that you put up on your wall that really eventually don't matter very much in the long run. But what matters are the testimonies. And the testimonies come from the investments that you make in the lives of the people who are around you. So consider your relationships like that bank account, more deposits than you make withdrawals. Overcome the glitch in your operating system, and have a good relational portfolio. And if you feel like you're doing wrong, think, I don't want to be a parasite in my relationship. I want to give life to that relationship and what it's all about. Now, you have chaplains in your units. They are kind of your relational experts on hand. We also have the Chaplain Family Life Center, which is a higher level of operator maintenance. And what that Family Life Center offers is absolute confidentiality for counseling. So if you have folks who are afraid of popping up on the radar screen, the Family Life Center is a great place for them to be a part of that healing process. And the wait time is generally only about 2 days maximum, so a great way to plug your folks in. I appreciate your attentiveness this morning. Any questions or comments in reference to this part of this morning's briefing?
The commanders have heard me talk about this before, but I really want to talk to family members that are here today. On this particular installation, 85% of our suicides, when you do the fatality review boards, are relationship-driven. The seminal point as we connect the dots and we get all the forensics and all the informations are driven by a relationship. That relationship leads to other things. It leads to domestic violence. It leads to financial problems. But the seminal event that caused this person to take a different path started with a relationship issue. It could have started in social media. It could have started at a party. It could have started in the house. It could have started in a lot of different places. This discussion in terms of what the chaplain is talking about really resonates on this entire installation. And what we find with suicides on this installation is that those people in distress in relationships get to a critical fork in the road. They're either managing that relationship issue and they're able to overcome it, as we saw with a young man at the chip seed the other day, or they're not, as we saw with a young staff sergeant in the Corps that unfortunately took her life a few months ago. So what I'm asking you all to do here is there's a lot of great programs, but some of these programs go to families that are not in distress. I'd like you to look at programs that need to go to families in need. So as the chaplains have their programs, as we have programs on the installation, push families that don't want to go, because those are the ones that need to go. And I'm asking you to look in your formations, look at your neighbors, look on this installation both on and off post, and who is in distress? Where is the point of need? because those relationship issues invariably on this particular installation have led to 85% of all the suicides that have gone on. And I would also argue that ideations and gestures probably pick up the other 15% that were saved or were near misses, okay? So I just want to reinforce what the chaplain said. It is so, so important on this particular installation. So thanks very much, Chaplain.
And one final with the HOPE initiative, all of your chaplains and chaplain assistants in October have received 3 days of training in the HOPE initiative. So this is an asker for a tasker to them. Bring them in your office, say, chaplain, tell me about this thing. How can I integrate this into my unit so we can execute it for the benefit of our service members and family members?
Okay, up next we have Norma Mello, and she's going to be followed by Monica Yulbari, and they're going to talk about some things you need to know for the upcoming PCS season.
I'm not moving, but I know that many of our families will be moving with their active duty soldier. So first I want to talk about spring break. I know that as parents, you're not going to be real thrilled about that week off. But there are millions of teachers all over the world that are going to be. So the schedule for the spring break for the school districts are on the table where the tent cards are. If you are active duty, please take one back to your unit, post it on the bulletin board so that command and soldiers know and they're aware. We don't want children left alone at home. So we've got all kinds of activities scheduled through Child and Youth Services for those weeks. So please take advantage or look for things in the community. The other thing I want to talk about is PCS. So on every order to leave or to come to this place, there is a section on there that says, please check with your school liaison officer. So if you have children that are in preschool through 12th grade, there is a list that must be followed. And so some families are really good at lists and some families aren't. We see the ones that aren't. PCS in the middle of a school year, it can be detrimental, especially because of all the national testing or state testing that must be taken. So please check, call our office. It's got our telephone number on PCS orders. It's really, really important. If your child has a special need, is gifted and talented, or is on the fast track to graduation, you want to check with those counselors at the school to make sure that you hand carry everything. I cannot tell you the number of telephone calls I get from people that have PCS to Georgia or to Germany or to Korea and said, hey, could you get to the counselor? We didn't bring this. It's very difficult to get that because there's a privacy issue. That's PII, and I can't get that. So what I can do is get the name, the fax number, email address to connect the soldier with the school here. But it's just one of those checklist things that you can do. The last thing, because you're leaving in the middle of the year, most kids will not have taken their tests, their exams. So it's important that if it's possible, the children take that test prior to leaving and get the exam and get it placed on the transcript. We don't know what the federal requirements are going to be for the Department of Education, but currently, children must take end-of-class tests in grades 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, and 12. And if it's not on there, the student must take that test in either biology, math, or English at the new school. For some of the kids, they just took it this year, so it's not a problem. For many, many students this year especially, we've had sophomores and seniors that have to take tests that they took in 8th and 9th grade. It sucks for the kid. It sucks for the counselor because it's the law. So we just ask that you pay particular attention. Our office is open from 8 to 4:30. If we're not there, we return those calls because we check them at the end of the day. So within 12 hours, somebody's got to call back. We're here to help. We if we can help you be proactive, it's a lot better than being reactive. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Monica Ulibarri, and I'm the Relocation Readiness Program Manager. And I'm here to talk about PCSing. We all know PCSing is stressful, is it not? Yeah, there's all these things that we have to accomplish. The list gets longer and longer, and inevitably, we're going to miss something. So one of the things that my office does is we promote Plan My Move. I'm a huge advocate for it. I used it going overseas, and I used it arriving for this position. And it helps you stay organized and on track. What it is we go ahead and go to the military1source.mil site. You type in when you're leaving, when you're arriving at your next duty station, and then it populates a calendar 90 days out. That calendar is super beneficial and helpful because it's going to give you anything and everything you could possibly need to do for a PCS move. That also includes, it also has the documents that you need to hand carry. Something I didn't know going overseas was, oh my gosh, you have to carry all these orders. You have to have your medical documents on hand. You have to have your legal documents on hand. So these are all the different things that you have to do prior to PCSing. One of another things that you do is the school transcripts. So Norma talked a little bit about the schools. I had a couple come to me on a Thursday. They were leaving that weekend going overseas. They didn't use Plan My Move. They came to me and they said, hey, we're leaving. We want to make sure we did everything right. So I started going through a checklist with them. And I said, did you get your school transcripts? And they face dropped. They go, oh my gosh, no, we didn't. So inevitably, as soon as they left my office, they were going straight to the schools. Luckily for them, they were on dots. They were here on post. But those school transcripts are a necessity when getting overseas to enroll them in school. So had they used this website, they would have had a checklist of everything that they possibly needed prior to leaving JBLM. So on the list here, when you go to the Plan My Move site, you can actually get a list of everything that you need to do. That includes pets and your household goods if you're shipping items, and what not to keep in your household goods. Because I've also had families come to me where they had legal documents in their household goods. Well, I'm not going to have them for 8 more weeks, but I need that document. Or I need vital statistics information. So very, very helpful. We tried to give this to all of our service members that are out processing, and of course anybody that calls us and says, hey, I'm coming to JBLM. So the first thing we do is we send them this link with all the information so that they can start getting ready and listening or reading about all the information about JBLM and all the directorates and agencies. Because this site also links them to Military Installations, which is a site that is certified quarterly, and it has all the different agencies, so all the agencies that you represent also. So when we have service members going overseas, one of the things we do is we like to prepare them not only for the cultural differences, but what to expect upon arrival. So we conduct weekly overseas briefs, and we also conduct an Alaska brief, because Alaska is a totally different ball of wax than almost overseas. So we want to prepare them, make sure they don't get there and they're blindsided, okay? So that is something that we also conduct to prepare them, and it's important that when you have service members leaving, going overseas, going to Alaska, that they get in touch with the relocation office. Our office does a pretty good job of contacting every single service member that does hit that cap cycle that is going overseas. And still to this day, we brief it at our day 1 in processing brief it, and I still get soldiers. I just had an email actually yesterday where someone wanted to know if they can borrow pots and pans and dishes or things while they're here. I'm just, yeah, we do. We have a lending closet. So it's still a little, people just assume everybody knows about it, but they don't. So please spread the word. They can borrow items, especially your young soldiers that can't afford to go to the PX and buy everything new while waiting for their stuff to arrive. They may borrow from us for 30 days or until their household goods arrive. So again, we have a huge inventory. I hope we maintain that inventory. But again, and if you have service members that still owe the lending closet, you'll be contacted because they need to return those items because it's government property. They like to sometimes take it with them. So again, relocation is here to help in any need possible. You know, if we can't help them, we reach out to agencies that do. And most importantly, we can contact our counterparts wherever they're headed to. So I could get that little transition, that little handhold. So again, please, come visit us, and we're happy to help. Thank you.
Okay. Colonel Place?
Oh, I'm sorry. A little slow this morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. Glad to be back. Spent some time away recently. If you go to the next slide, just want to show some highlights of what we have going on. Anybody from Ghost Brigade here? Where there you go. Yeah. Well, Soldier Center Medical Home is going to be opening up over there. Looking forward to cutting the ribbon on that with you. And then for those of you who don't know, the big white building called Madigan is 25 years old this month. So some of us are old enough to remember working actually in the other facility that's now called the Madigan Annex. So looking forward to that. 25 years, a great place, lots going on in there. JBLM Cares, Center for Autism Resources, Education, and Services. For those of you who don't know, we've been designated as the pilot site for taking care of our special needs kids in the DoD. We're trying to figure out if there's a better way of taking care of them other than to essentially outsource it to the communities to provide services for our autistic kids. So we secured some money to be able to establish a place, which is a CDC. If you go over towards Madigan, there's the big CDC right there at the stoplight next to the chapel, or across from the chapel. Well, there's a second one behind that CDC. It's much smaller. It's actually having some renovations, just about done now. And so next month, this month now, I guess it is, we're going to start seeing some autistic kids there. Sometime in the next couple months, we're going to have a formal ribbon cutting. Pretty big deal across the DoD. I've been contacted by a number of different installations to ask how to set that up. I think the bottom line is that we're going to do it here first, and then the department is going to decide whether or not they want to do that at other locations. So kind of a big thing. Again, the Center for Autism Resources, Education, and Services. And also, kind of behind the credit union as you come in the Madigan gate there, over where the old Medical Simulation Training Center was, the Mystic, we are building an Intrepid Spirit Center, which is part of the National Intrepid Centers of Excellence, really to take care of traumatic brain injury and PTSD related to traumatic brain injury. We have a pretty robust traumatic brain injury clinic right now. It's going to move in its entirety into that new facility after it gets built. Looks like it'll be this fall when that comes online. In the meantime, we still have the traumatic brain injury clinic in the Madigan Annex. So if you have soldiers that are having problems that might be related to traumatic brain injury, we have a very robust program with specialists and subspecialists to help take care of them, do all the appropriate testing, referrals, and management for them. Finally, on the bottom here, MHS Genesis. I've talked at this forum a couple of times about that. It's our new electronic health record. On the next Monday, on the 7th of February, this new electronic health record gets turned on at Fairchild Air Force Base. Fairchild, for those of you who haven't been out there, it's a relatively small Air Force base. It's got a few thousand beneficiaries there. They're kind of putting their toe in the water to see if it's going to work there. And then after that, it's going to go to Oak Harbor, then to Bremerton, and then to us. As I've explained to folks, we are so much bigger than them. The first week that we have it, we will see more patients and do more things than the rest of them combined from whenever they start to then. So really for the Department of Defense, this is the test. If it works here, it's going to go everywhere. If it doesn't work here, then we got a problem. I'm confident by looking at it that it's going to work. It's a Cerner product. For anybody who's in medicine, they know that's a nationally recognized product. It will do medical, it'll do dental, it's going to do inpatient and outpatient, all the rest of it. There's a secure messaging system that goes with it. We will be doing a campaign to sign people up for that so they'll be able to correspond with their providers, much like we do now with Relay Health. So a big deal that's coming. Looks like we're going to turn this on probably the end of July. Don't know exactly when. For planning purposes, we've been saying 15 July, but it looks like sometime towards the end of July is when that's going to happen. So a lot more to follow on that. There will be flyers that you'll probably get as you come to the clinic to help explain what that means. We'll have an effort to sign people up for secure messaging and all the rest of it. But I think as far as the community goes, the biggest thing is As we get into the May time period, we have roughly 50,000 hours of training to do over 8 weeks for everybody who provides any kind of clinical care or touches a computer. 50,000 hours, obviously, is a lot. So what we've done is we've secured about 100 reservists to come help us, and we have various kinds of contracts for actually a total of 400 folks to augment the staff. So between the reservists and the contracts, 500 people are coming to help us. That's great if we all know that it's coming, because a lot of folks like to see their doctor, and I understand that. That's important. I'm a family physician. The relationship we have with our patients is important. But because we have to have all of our folks go to training, that may not be possible for a period of time. And I want people just to understand that. So as many of you heard me talk about, we really want folks to get their routine health care now. We're doing lots of things to make appointments available for both acute appointments as well as the wellness appointments. So we'd encourage you to talk to your folks routinely about trying to get your health care now, because in July and August, I expect that we're going to not be able to meet anything other than pretty much the acute care needs of folks. So it won't be the time that you want to come in and get your, for us, prostate exams or your pap smear or whatever. That's just not probably going to be a good time to do that. So a little proactive work over the summer or late spring would be wonderful. We're going to have the resources there to be able to see you. We just need your help to try and convince folks to come on in. I'll leave it there. I've got a couple of folks here online to talk with you. We have Lieutenant Colonel Coons who's going to talk about some cardiac health, and we have someone else coming to talk a little bit about cancer prevention and screening. So if you hold your questions, I'll be back up in just a minute.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Colonel Place mentioned, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Coons. I'm the Chief of the Cardiology Service at Madigan Army Medical Center. And our team is located on the second floor of the medical mall of the hospital adjacent to the pulmonary clinic. And what our team is tasked to do primarily is to assist with the diagnosis and treatment of a variety of heart conditions, from coronary artery disease, heart attacks, various abnormal heart rhythms, valvular heart disease, and so forth. Although I find it very satisfying to treat disease that's already present, I find it even that much more satisfying to give preventive advice and to be able to prevent the disease before it actually evolves. And so with that, February is Heart Month, where we talk about prevention, where we talk about risk factor control, because everybody in this room wants to be like the Bitar family. We all want to live and healthy lives, long lives, be married for 83 plus years. We want to see our children grow up. And just as important, we want to make sure that all of our service members are ready to deploy and are ready to be able to handle the austere environment that a downrange environment entails. So with that, next slide, please. So this is the stats from the FY16 on JBLM. So about 3.1% of those on JBLM of active duty had a heart attack, had a diagnosis of a heart attack. 6% of those that were active duty were women. And not unexpectedly, we're talking 30 to 59 years of age. Heart disease, coronary artery disease is a disease of older age, but it does exist in younger folks, particularly those younger folks that have ongoing risk factors, tobacco use, hypertension, high blood pressure, particularly a family history of early heart disease, and so forth. Next slide. So with that cohort, the active duty population in FY16, 37% were active tobacco users. 12.5% had a diagnosis of high blood pressure or hypertension. 6% had elevated cholesterol. And 2.4% were diabetic. Next slide. So what is the overall impact from a readiness standpoint? Well, if an active duty service member has a heart attack, that immediately makes them non-deployable for at least a year because of a variety of blood thinners that they need to be on while they're recovering. In addition, for those service members that are in a downrange environment that have their event that have their heart attack. Obviously, that results in an evacuation and negatively affects the fighting force downrange. So what do we do moving forward from a readiness standpoint? Well, it all boils down to risk factor control. So as a community and as leaders, we need to counsel our soldiers and airmen about tobacco use. We have a variety of services at Madigan for tobacco cessation available. Counsel them on control of blood pressure, so low sodium diets, exercise, maintaining an ideal body weight, all common themes that we all employ for normal daily physical fitness. In addition, there are a variety of calculations that your primary care providers, your unit surgeons can use for those airmen and soldiers that do have risk factors to decide whether or not to do some additional imaging. We know based on CAT scans that have been done in the active duty population for the last several years that about 30 to 40% of active duty service members have what we call subclinical coronary artery disease. In other words, they have the early buildup of cholesterol in the arteries that supply the heart, but they do not know it. And so how do we identify those individuals so that we can make sure that they're put on an aspirin, make sure that they're put on cholesterol medicines in order to prevent that event? Well, there is a calcium screen that we can do at Madigan through radiology in certain individuals that meet indications to be able to identify that. So with that said, Heart Month in February, I would employ everybody to kind of think about risk factors, how we can take this back to our families, how we can take this back to our unit to make sure that we all live healthy, heart-healthy lives on a daily basis. With that, I will be available following the session if anybody has any specific questions about my service, what my team provides, how to get into the cardiology clinic if they have any questions. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Marge, who's going to talk about cancer prevention.
Good morning. I'm Marge Ramsdell, and I'm the Chief of Specialty Case Management at Madigan, and I'm also the Cancer Program Administrator. February is Cancer Prevention Month, and so we'll talk a little bit about how to prevent and minimize cancers. Though we've made great strides in, diagnosing and treating cancer, or the death rate from cancer still remains the second leading cause of death in the United States, right behind heart disease. There is some good news, though, and that between the years 1991 and 2014, the death rate from cancer has been reduced by 25%. So most of that is mainly from a reduction in smoking, as well as, early detection and improved treatments. Next slide, please. So as an oncology nurse, a lot of my patients have often asked, why did I get cancer? I don't understand that. I don't have a family history. I don't have anybody else in my family that's been diagnosed. Only a small percentage of cancers are inherited, and these generally tend to occur in younger individuals or younger ages than it normally expected. The vast majority of cancers that are diagnosed are the result of lifestyle factors, and it's these types of cancers that we can prevent. So what are some of those prevention strategies? Next slide, please. The most important thing is going to be quit smoking, and not just cigarettes, but all forms of tobacco, to include secondhand smoke, trying to avoid that, as well as e-cigarettes, which seems to be kind of the newest thing out there. The next thing is the majority of skin cancers are usually caused by exposure to ultraviolet rays, mainly from the sun, but there's also man-made exposure from indoor tanning beds as well as sun lamps that can contribute to skin cancers. So if you can remember to slip on some long sleeve clothing, slap on some sunscreen, slap on a hat, and then wrap on some sunglasses to protect your eyes and the skin around your eyes, you can reduce your risk of skin cancer that way. The next thing in terms of prevention is eat healthy and get active. Maintain a healthy weight by limiting portions, reducing the intake of processed and red meats, and limiting your alcohol intake as well. Increasing the amounts of plant foods that you consume, primarily fresh fruits, vegetables, as well as whole grains. And then limiting your sedentary behavior. Get up, be active, and get moving. And finally, the other thing in terms of prevention is getting recommended vaccinations, mainly from the human papillomavirus, which has been linked to a variety of different cancers. So next slide, please. The other thing is preventive screenings. We offer breast cancer screening, prostate cancer screening, colorectal, as well as cervical cancer screening. And I just finally want to end with a couple of initiatives that will be rolling out in March through our population health centers, and one is on HPV vaccinations and talking to our patient-centered medical homes as well as our soldier care medical homes, educating the staff on vaccinations, when to get vaccinated, how many vaccinations do you need, and then educating patients and families as well about that. And the second thing is our 80%, it has to do with colorectal screening, 80% screened by 2018, and that education initiative will come out in March as well. I'll be taking questions after this, and so I'll turn it over to Colonel Place.
Okay, thanks. Any questions for the medical team? All right, well, I, like you, am eager to hear what Buck James has to say today, so we'll pass it back to Alicia.
Thank you.
Good morning. Buck James, Director, DPTMS. Bottom line is, okay, so now I got to weave together the Love Bank, heart health, PCSing, stress reduction, and spring break. So that's what I'm going to do for you right now. Okay. All right. In February, don't be fooled. Don't be that person. The group of people that you hang out with are all going to make that pact that says they're not going to do anything for Valentine's Day. That's wrong. You're going to get smacked. So just buy into it now. Get your card, get your flowers, and put money in the Love Bank. Okay. We're tracking on that. All right. So that's number one. We got a Donza on the 17th, and of course President's Day on the 14th. Once again, what a great opportunity to spend some time with your spouse, put some money in the Love Bank, okay? So we're tracking on that. And as far as heart health, I really can't say anything. Doc Place, some of you don't know, AKA Dr. Love, he removed mine many years ago, so I'm good to go. All right, a couple of things I want you to take a look at. For those of you that are concerned about spring break that's coming up and what you're going to do with your kids, all right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to hook them up to the plow. You're going to put them to work for you, because what you're going to have them do is you're going to have them go through all your stuff, and you're going to put together at least 2 boxes a week of stuff that you need to shred. And then you're going to take that to the personal shred day. And we got 3 of them lined up. Why? Because all of you in here right now are thinking, okay, PCS. Oh, yeah, there's a weight allowance. Get rid of all that stuff. You know, all the stuff that you got from your kids from kindergarten, go ahead and shred it. Tell them you're making room for new memories. All right? Again, putting money in the Love Bank. All right, so we're staying okay, and we're reducing stress, and we're making this work for you, okay? Now, all the other events that are on there, there's some great opportunities for you to spend time with your family, get out and enjoy the local area with the events. The Ministry of Fun is going to brief the details on that here in a minute. But I also wanted to mention to you that as we move into the spring time frame, we've got some pretty heavy training densities that are going to be going on the Joint Base. I know the commanders and the family readiness groups are all aware of that. Just be aware that as we move towards the spring time frame and it starts getting darker later, some of the night training opportunities or the requirements that we've got move a little later in the evening. So we'll work with PAO, we'll work with all the messaging to ensure that the community knows if we've got training going on that's later at night, that gets out there, because I know that sometimes that becomes a concern. You know, we'll try to manage the noise levels. So again, most everything you've got on here, I think you all are aware of, but I did want to mention once again the personal shred days. We've gotten a lot of real good feedback. I think that supports folks. I do have to mention one more time, we shred 2 boxes per person per day. Those are like the boxes that you get copier paper in. We don't shred spouses. Children are negotiable if you can get Sergeant Major Love to sign off on it, and we'll work that on a case-by-case basis. So, again, other than that, DFMWR is going to talk to you about the rest of these events. And, yes, Sergeant Major? Oh, yeah, the Armed Forces Day and the 4th of July celebrations that are coming up, those flyers are going out. Those are both going to be big events for the community. Armed Forces Day, open to the public. We'll have a lot of folks coming on. There'll be for those of you that have been here before, there's a lot of displays. They're out on Watkins Field and out in Cowan Stadium. Again, great opportunity. There's displays there from the museum, historical artifacts, as well as some reenactors and some other folks, and then static displays, or as we like to call them, petting zoos. But it's a great opportunity to come out and see some of the current hardware and talk to the soldiers and let them showcase their skills. So it's a good opportunity. And then finally, let's see. So we got PCS squared away. We got shredding squared away. We got money in the love bank. And I got to tell you, Doc, slip, slop, slap, rap, yeah, that is a winner. We're going to adopt that as the new DPTMS motto. Slip, slop, slap, rap. Unless you got any questions, folks, that's all I got. Have a great day. Tip your waitress.
Good morning. I'm Don Meyer. I'm the Chief of Housing for JBLM. I'll talk about a subject that everybody likes. That's money. Okay, money in your pocket. And so this year, I just wanted to share with you, you've probably already seen it in your check. It started on the 15th of January. You probably saw it again at the end of the month, which is the increases in BAH rates for JBLM area and for Yakima. We were successful this year in getting almost the fourth highest increase in the DOD for our area. So last year combined with this year was almost a 23% increase in BAH for E4 through E1. So we're pretty happy about that. This year, it's about 9% for the width-dependent rate for E1 through E4 as a change. Next slide, please. And the without-dependent rate, we're seeing almost a 13% increase. So everybody on JBLM got an increase. Some of your percentages are different based on your rank structure, but E1 through E4 was the biggest increases. So we're very, very happy about that. Put more money in your pocket, help you out on the economy here in JBLM, because everybody knows here in our area we got some pretty high rent rates. I'm going to jump on the PCS bandwagon here for a minute for both inbound and outbound. If you're PCSing this summer and you have not given your notice to vacate or informed Lewis-McChord communities that you will be PCSing, I would ask that you get with your local district center, notify them, let them know when you're going to be leaving, even if you don't have your orders yet and you have an on or about when you think you're going to be leaving. That helps us plan for the summer moves. As Coroner Morgan had pointed out, we're going to have a huge turnover this year. We're at 98%, 98.5% leased right now, and we have over 500 people on waiting lists. So the more that we can get notified that people are going out, the quicker we can start programming to get people in. And if you have or are sponsoring somebody that is PCSing into JBLM, I would ask that they go to the Lewis-McChord website, and on the left-hand side of the JBLM website, they'll see the off-base or on-base housing links. If they click on the on-base housing link, it will take them to Lewis-McChord communities. They can fill out their application now, way in advance, to let them know when they're coming and be placed on a waiting list for the neighborhood of their choice. And right now, waiting lists are time frames are anywhere from 30 days to 12 months, depending on the neighborhood that they want to live in. So the sooner they get on that list before they get here, the sooner that time can start ticking off so that when they get here based on their data eligibility. Next slide, please. And this is just one announcement for the McChord Field side. Our partner has asked us to do this. Earlier in the year, it was cold and the lake was freezing, and we had a lot of children that were trying to get out on the lake, trying to walk on the ice. And we'd ask you that if that happens again, please don't walk on the lake. Lewis-McChord Communities is taking the effort. They're going to fence off the entire lake. They do stock it with fish in the summertime to fish, but in the wintertime, they'd like you to stay off the lake, please. And I'll be followed by, next slide, Go Transit.
Good morning. My name is Miriam Measley. I'm with the Directorate of Public Works and also working here with the Go Lewis-McChord program. The Go Lewis-McChord program has 3 sub-programs that help facilitate getting you around the base and off the base. There's Go Bikes, where you can go and rent a bike. There's Go Rideshare, where you can get involved with van pools or car pools. And then I'm here going to talk more specifically about our Go Transit. So it is an on-base and off-base transit system. It can connect you to Pierce Transit, Sound Transit. You can get to the Lakewood Town Center and the Lakewood Station there and pretty much get to Seattle or Portland or anywhere else you want to go, and it is a free service. Around the installation, we have over 80 stops, every 20 minutes during the weekdays, during the peak hours. It goes by every single gym, every single dining facility, every 20 minutes. So it's a great way to get around base, not have to use your own vehicle. If you want to, now you can leave the other vehicle with a spouse and you can get around base and they can do their daily errands. We also have evening and weekend services as well. And you can actually, if you go to our GoLewisMcChord.com website, you can find all the routes that are there. So again, this is a really great way to get around base. Also for you NCOs, if you have a service member that needs to get to Madigan or get to an appointment and they don't have a vehicle, instead of you having to drive them, you can just put them on Go Transit and they can get everywhere they need to go. Next slide, please. So if you're not sure where the bus is, there's a One Bus Away app you can download, totally free app, and it's real time where the vehicles are. So if you're sitting here waiting at a bus stop, looking both ways down the road, you don't see a bus, just check out the app and it'll show you exactly where the next bus is going to be. Again, it can help you with the connections that you're going to be getting to if you are going to like Seattle or somewhere. It'll help you get those connections with Pierce Transit and Sound Transit. So I hear a lot of people, they don't know what to do on the weekends, or they want to get up to Seattle and see a game, but they don't want to spend the whatever $60 for parking that it is. So we're going to show you a really short video of kind of showing you how to get to Seattle and back for under $10 using a combination of our Go Transit and the Pearson and Sound Transit as well. So you can see this again on our YouTube and Facebook pages. And again, you can find all of the routes that we have on GoLewisMcChord.com. You can also find information about the van pools and how to borrow a bike from us as well. So let's show that video real quick.
Today, Go Transit brings you tips on how to get from Madigan Hospital to downtown Seattle. You can use public transportation to get there and back for less than $10, saving you money on gas, parking, and wear and tear on your personal vehicle. Step 1, take Go Transit Route 2 out to the 512 Park and Ride for free. No ID required.
Got the Park and Ride. Here's the Go Transit sign.
Right there. Step 2, take Sound Transit 594 to Seattle. Step 3, enjoy the city. When you're ready to head back to base, check for bus stops in person and on the free phone app One Bus Away. Take Go Transit back to Madigan. Make sure you have the correct ID to get back on base. And just like that, you're back at Madigan. I hope you enjoyed your Seattle adventure. Now don't forget to like the Go Lewis McChord Facebook page and check out GoLewisMcChord.com for updates on all your transportation options.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about any of those programs? Okay, thank you very much.
That was great. I'm Kelly, I'm with MWR, and I'm going to talk about Brewfest. This is the biggest Brewfest we have ever had. We have had 175 home brewers submit their homemade beer to be judged this weekend. We had 40 lucky volunteers who are going to judge those 175 brews. So on the 10th of February, you can be a lucky person to go and try some of those home brews, plus some microbrews that we've got from off base coming in. We've got some local distributors who are going to be sampling, It's $15 for 6 samples, an extra $5 for 5 more samples. That includes food, that includes live entertainment. It should be a packed house. So if you are not busy that night, definitely head by the McChord Club on the 10th of February. I've got another quick rundown at the bottom, some of the upcoming events that we've got coming up. The Skies Open House. If you have children who are interested in Parks and Rec type programs, that's our Skies program. So everything from boxing to martial arts, dance, gymnastics, all of those classes. It's an open house so that you and the children can go and check out some new classes if you're interested in that. The big game is February 5th. We're legally not able to call it the Super Bowl, but it is the big game. If you need someplace to go and see it, the Warrior Zone, definitely. If you and 500 of your closest friends would like to watch the Super Bowl, you can do that at a Warrior Zone. Or a smaller, more intimate crowd would be at the Sam Adams Brew House over on Lewis, Maine. And she's doing a big buffet, $20 a person, and all you can eat. Pretty much any kind of Super Bowl food you can think of will be available to you all day long. Family Valentine's Day party at the McChord Club on the 9th is coming up. We have a fiction writing workshop for folks at the McChord Library on the 10th of February, Wine and Canvas on the 24th at the McChord Club, and then something new we're doing this year is a bridal fair at American Lake Conference Center. If you have already registered to have your wedding, which there are quite a few weddings scheduled between May and August, and receptions at American Lake Conference Center. I had heard that pretty much every weekend is booked for wedding receptions at this point. So we have a lot of folks getting married and they're going to use that facility. We're having a bridal fair. If you're looking at weddings in the future, it might be an opportunity for you to go and do some cake testing, maybe some food testing, talk with the chefs, talk with somebody who can help you plan your wedding reception. And then next slide. We just opened the McChord Grill over at the McChord Club, and great opportunity for you to eat healthy. The Air Force has a healthy eating endeavor that they're pushing, and we're falling right in line with that. Fantastic, huge, we call it, it's a big as a boat salad bar, and it is literally as big as a boat. Lots of good things on the salad bar, plus great cooked-to-order burgers. They are fresh, not frozen patties, and then some great pasta that they serve as well. So if you're looking for someplace a little off the beaten path, head over to McChord and you can have lunch at the McChord Grill. They are open Monday through Friday from 11 to 1. And then we've also just reopened the pub inside the McChord Club. And they're open Thursday, Friday, and every UTA Saturday from 4 to 9. March events coming up is the Shamrock and Run. That's the kickoff for our run season. So first run of the year, if you are interested in dressing up like a leprechaun and going to run, this is the run for you. Operation Baby Shower. After we have the bridal fair, we have the baby shower. So, and that's for anybody who has had a child in the last 6 months, or you're expecting a child in the next 6 months. We invite you to come out and pick up a whole bunch of freebies, talk to some of the agencies that can help you with a child rearing, parenting, making sure that your kids are healthy. Perfect opportunity to get the kids on the right path. Manicure and martini. A basic manicure and a martini, just a nice relaxing evening at the club coming up in March. And then the last one is a open spring softball. We have a lot of folks who play softball on this base, and so we have opened up our spring intramurals. It is not a Commander's Cup sport. This is for anybody who is 18 or over who is able to access the base and they want to play softball. They can join a team. You can have a team created, you can create a team, or you can show up at the meeting and they'll put you on a team. But if you'd like to play softball on base, this is a great opportunity. My last slide is our Arts and Crafts Center, and it's a huge, long laundry list of all of the classes that they are offering in the next couple of months. Now, Debbie's in the back, and she has brought examples of a lot of the classes that you see on this list. So everything from acrylic painting to glass mosaic, she has examples back there of some of the classes that they offer. But they also are promoting their Resiliency Through Art program. And she's got a bunch of brochures. If you could pick one up and take it back to your unit, because it's an important program, it is available to every service member for free. It is not a crafts class. This hits on a couple of those FY17 priorities. including encouraging healthy behaviors and supporting resiliency. This is a process of creativity, not just a crafts class. It is free to service members, and it is also available to family members, to civilians. They can take up to 4 classes for free, and then it is $5 a class after that. So it's an opportunity if you've got soldiers and airmen in your back at your squadron or unit who are looking for a different kind of way to be resilient. It's a creative process, and it's a fantastic opportunity for them. Anybody have any questions? Great. I hope to see you all out there having a good time in the next couple of months.
Good morning. I'm Janet Landon with the Lewis, Maine Commissary. I wanted to let everyone know Fisher House Scholarship, the deadline is coming up. And I don't know how many of you have children getting ready to go to college, but my grandchildren are going in this year, and I was shocked at the cost. So there's a $2,000 scholarship program. I have laid the applications on the back desk back here. You can also go to commissaries.com or just stop by our customer service desk in any of the commissaries and pick up an application. It's as simple as making sure your child qualifies, filling out the application. You can either send it in yourself or you can return it to the commissary and we send it in for you. Last year we gave away 6 of the scholarships, and history has told us the more applications we receive, the more scholarships we get. So McChord, between McChord and us last year, we gave away 12 scholarships for this community. So, you know, if you have a child, that $2,000 can go a long way towards paying for the books, lab fees, and different things that add up as your child is going to college. The Commissary Rewards Card. I don't know how many of you have it, but if you want to save money, this is another way of saving money. DECA has teamed up with a company that we now have the program where you sign up with this card, you download coupons online when you come in. When we ask you for your ID, give them the card as well. They scan it. If you have anything that you've purchased that you've downloaded a coupon for, it will automatically come off at the register. So this is another additional way of saving money. I also want to talk about, next slide please. Nutritional Guide Program. DECA's teaming up with Madigan. We're working to get people eating healthier. So part of what DECA has done is we've went out to the manufacturers and we've got new nutritional guidelines that we're putting up on products that the companies have guaranteed us that these products actually meet these guidelines. So as you're shopping, if you're looking for quick, healthy ways to eat, these tags are hanging by the signs and all of the products that we've got the companies guaranteeing us that these products actually meet these guidelines. So that's another way that we're trying to work to get you to eat healthier while not spending a lot of time reading labels in the commissary. Because we know when you get into the commissary, most people's main goal, you want to get in, you want to get out. But you need to eat healthy, so this is another way we're hoping to help. March is National Nutrition Month. We're teaming up with Madigan Nutrition Center. We've got Lieutenant Carol coming over on March the 3rd to set up a booth. She's going to be signing people up as well as talking about nutrition. On March the 30th, Madigan, Lieutenant Carol from Madigan will be leading a nutrition tour of the commissary. So anyone interested in the nutrition tour can sign up on the 3rd between noon and 3, or just send an email or call us at those numbers and we will make sure you get on the list. The tour will be a fun tour. We're going to do it between 8 and 9 in the morning before the store opens so that you can actually go through without the store being crowded, and you'll be able to talk about nutrition and ask your questions of an expert from Madigan. We will also be offering tours all during the month, so anyone that has a group that would like to tour, kids, families, if you have a spouse group, anybody that would like tours, we are more than happy to set up tours. You can also call either one of those numbers and set up a tour with us. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
The scholarship that you mentioned, the Fisher House, is that in addition to the commissary scholarship, or is it?
It is this commissary scholarship program. Yeah, the Fisher House has actually teamed up with the commissary for, I believe it's probably close to 7 or 8 years now. We've been giving away scholarships for quite a while. And one year, when we got over 100 scholarships turned in, we actually gave away 8 scholarships at our commissary. So it's really important to, really get in there and get those scholarships in, because this community does receive a lot of scholarships based on how many are available and how many qualify and are turned in. You're welcome. Anyone have? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm April McClung. I'm the president of the Lewis Community Spouses Club, and I just want to tell you a little bit about what we have going on. In case you don't know about the Spouses Club, we are an all-volunteer run, nonprofit, all-rank spouses group, and we're dedicated to giving back to soldiers and their families while we build relationships. Membership is open to all spouses of active duty, reserve, National Guard, and retired personnel of the armed forces, and we're also honored to extend membership to our Gold Star spouses. We have monthly luncheons, including one coming up next week. It's not too late to RSVP. If you're not a member of the Spouses Club, please come to a luncheon and enjoy our luncheon and see how much fun we have, and then join while you're there. We also have small groups: book club, cooking club, wine club, Pacific Northwest Explorers Club, craft club, bunco. We get out and about and we do a lot of fun things. We do community outreach as well. We work with Patriots Landing, the Emergency Food Network, Santa's Castle, and Habitat for Humanity. We also do fundraising throughout the year, and we give away grants. Our grant application is up on our website right now. So if you are a nonprofit or you know a nonprofit that is in need, please head to our website and fill out that application, because we do like to give money away. We have a lending closet, and we also have Wear It Again boutique that is transitioning into Operation Deploy Your Dress that I'm going to talk about in just a second. We have a cottage boutique. Again, all of our fundraising that we do goes back into our community. So our cottage boutique is open Tuesdays and Wednesdays 10 to 2. It's right next to the thrift store off of Pendleton, and Thursday by appointment only, and also the first Saturday of every month. Okay, so our Wear It Again boutique is transitioning to Operation Deploy Your Dress. If you don't know about Operation Deploy Your Dress, this is a group that started on another post. They asked us to be involved, and basically, we get dresses from all over the place. There's a lot of media that is involved. They send us dresses, and we give those dresses away. Our Wear It Again boutique, we were loaning dresses out. So we were asking ladies to get the dress dry cleaned and bring it back. So there was a small fee. But with Operation Deploy Your Dress, we are giving these dresses away. We have a huge event coming up, April 20th. That event is going to be kind of our first, hey, look at all these cool dresses we have to give away. So in the past, people have come to us and borrowed a dress when their event was coming up. Now we are giving those dresses away. However, the only stipulation is you can only get one dress a year. So we are going to take some information for that. And then the next slide. Okay, this is our big event coming up, March 17th. This is our big fundraiser event. This is where we get all of the money that we can get to give away, and we need your help. So right now, we are selling tickets back in the corner, back there, or if you need more information on our Night to Remember, those ladies can help you out back there as well. Our theme is Centennial Celebration. This is going to be at American Lake Conference Center. I don't see you furiously scribbling on your papers about this event, so I need to see that happen, please. We are going to have auction events. We are going to have a dessert auction. We're going to have a wine pool. We're going to have a silent auction, a live auction. Dinner is included in your ticket price, as well as a really nice commemorative catalog that has tons of information about Fort Lewis's 100th anniversary. We're going to have a static displays from the Fort Lewis Army Museum. Thank you, Fort Lewis Army Museum back there. All these proceeds that we raise that night go back to our Community Grants Fund. So in the past, we were able to give scholarships to spouses. We were able to make donations to Dogs on Deployment, Wounded Warriors, Boy Scouts, our local wrestling team, our high school track and cross country team, Ainsley's Angels, and other things that I've even forgotten. But we put it all back into the community. So we also are looking for unit baskets, and I know there's kind of bragging rights that go along with this. So you guys might need to step it up a little bit. I'm just saying. I think that we already have unit baskets underway. Originally, we said that that was due today, but we just want to know your theme and your intent to turn in a basket. So if you could let those ladies know, come talk to me, grab somebody with a spouses club and let us know, we would appreciate it. Any questions about the Night to Remember or the spouses club? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Amy Lukengay, and I'm president of Santa's Castle. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of you as a community for once again coming together as units and individuals to help some of our families that were in financial crisis during the holidays and making the Christmases brighter for our children that otherwise may have not had any gifts. So all of you should be congratulated for participating in that. I just wanted to thank all of my board members, and we have a lot of elves in this room that have been my right, left, third, fourth, sixth arms that helped me out with the program, and that means an awful lot to me. And thank you so much for the units, individuals, and businesses that donated either toys through toy marches, toy boxes, or just monetary donations. I want to say that once again this year we spread our program throughout the state of Washington. We offered it to Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, but we only had Air Force and Army families that participated in the program this year. We had one Coast Guard application, but they decided not to participate in the program. But I did want to let you know that we did help 143 families, which is up from last year, so thank you, Air Force, for continuing to use our program and increasing your numbers, and I hope that your families enjoyed that. And we also increased our numbers this year with the Army families that we helped. We helped 856 families, or a total of 999 families, with a total of 2,210 children. So that's quite a few people that we've helped this year. So thank you so much. I just also wanted to let you know that we've just finished up our inventory, so we don't have any dollar amounts or total number of toys that we gave away, but we could announce that to you at a later date. I also wanted to mention to you that we also had helped two families on the previous slide. There were two families that were referred from community agencies. We've helped Gold Star families and families from the Fisher House in the past, but this year we had two agencies within our community agencies, such as the Puyallup Clinic and our social work services at Armed Forces Community Service, that referred families to us that normally wouldn't have gotten the help. So you as a community should be proud to know that we have other programs that are helping those that we normally wouldn't have had come through the unit. There were domestic situations, and at least we were able to help the families and their children in that situation. On the previous slide, those are just some numbers there for you. I think using the personal emails this year helped. We had 57% of your appointments were made by those that you referred, and 43 of those appointments were made by Santa's Castle volunteers. 2 or 3 of us were staffing the desk there at the castle, and so when you look, I was trying to show you the numbers that we had 18 referrers from the Air Force and 200 referrers. So that's 200 of you, or 18 Air Force referrers compared to 3 of us. So that's quite, plus we dealt with the 1,084 applications that we received, which were family, service members, plus sometimes we dealt with the spouses. So that's a lot of people in comparison to who actually dealt with you as making appointments. So thank you for being patient with us. Also wanted to stress to you too that there's declines in no-shows. Those are folks that did not participate in the program. So some of those situations are where you have not talked to your families. You're still not talking to your families to either, one, see if they're interested in participating in the program, or they just decided not to do that. So there might be some better communication. So 10% of the Air Force folks did not participate, and 7% of those that referred did not, from the Army side, did not participate. We also had a couple of interesting situations this year, and I'm only stressing this because we need your help to improve this for the next year. I hate being the bad guy, but it also makes me cranky when I get cranky when we're supposed to be happy and helpful during the holiday season. There's nothing like a bad, grinchy elf at the castle. Some of the units and it's just a few companies, had decided to take our personal information and use it for their own benefit. You can't just send people over to the castle or give them the scheduling information and have them make appointments. If you, as a leader, have not made an application for them, we can't take it. So what I was starting to find is, during especially the second week, I had to call 6 or 10 of your service members to call them back and tell them that no applications had been turned in on them. Some of them were showing up at the castle, and I have to be the Grinch and say, I'm sorry, but I don't have an application for you. You haven't been approved, and I have to turn them away. So one, that makes them embarrassed. One, it makes you look like a bad leader. It makes me cranky because I don't have a way to help them. And then they have to go back, and then you guys are mad at me because I haven't helped your families. If you just follow the procedures and the rules, then we can go ahead and help the families. Even if you give me a call and say it's an emergency application, that is better than just telling them that it's my fault that I've lost an application. I don't appreciate that, and it's hard for our volunteers. Plus, I am then in trouble with my board because I don't have the inventory to cover the toys that should be going to the families, which then made me, those of you that had been nice enough to do unit marches, bring your donations early so that we could cover some of those emergency situations that had come in. So that's why the deadlines are so important. We need that by the middle of November. Not trying to be a Grinch, but okay. To plan better for the year, go ahead and put these on your calendar. These are the days that the board decided to do things. We'll have another open house in September. We'll have applications taking those days. Pass these on to people that will be following in your footsteps. We'll do ELF training again in November, and then those are the days of toy distribution. There's no reason not to be able to plan ahead of time. And then there's, as a last basis, this will be my last presentation with you. I'm anticipating that I'm moving. I also have my inventory coordinator that is PCSing, so we desperately need volunteers to fill these positions. So if you're interested or know people that are moving in that might be very good at this, please have them get in talk with our secretary and also to call us for information. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Flint. I'm the director of the Lewis Army Museum, and I just wanted to give you all a quick update on the status of the museum and some events we have coming up and what the mission is. Our number one mission is soldier readiness, and this is directed particularly at the command teams. We are a training resource for all of you. The museum is not just a great big box full of cool stuff. Yes, it is, but that's not all it is. Our physical property, our resources, our expert staff are here to help you make better soldiers. And we can do that across all three learning domains: institutional, operational, and individual. We can assist you with leader professional development, staff rides, pre-mission training. We've done everything from, officer professional development. Like I said, we've done staff rides. We had several engineers who came to us, some sappers who were getting ready for a best sapper competition, couldn't get their hands on some AK-47s to do some assembly, disassembly as they got ready for that best sapper competition. I've got that stuff. In fact, developing a foreign weapons training package is one of the things that we're looking to do. But please feel free, come to me with any training requests. We can work together, we can build and make your training more effective. Now, at present, the museum itself, our indoor galleries are closed for a needed upgrade. We have a lot of amazing artifacts. However, they were housed in the cutting edge of 1970s exhibit technology. But thanks to the Center of Military History and the Joint Base, we are getting about $3 million to completely upgrade our main gallery exhibits. No longer will we have all these phenomenal uniforms housed on frightening department store mannequins. We'll have actual realistic military mannequins, and our exhibits will also be tailored to appeal to just about any of you, but anyone. Number one, those exhibits can be used for soldier training, and absolutely we'll have one whole gallery, which is a battle history of the United States Army in the 20th and 21st century, which will address principles of warfare, principles of sustainment, terrain analysis, technology development, development of doctrine. So again, get with me, or my staff, and we can help you develop those learning packages. These are just a couple of pictures of some of the things that we do at the museum. We're anticipating reopening in either April or May, depending on some construction issues that we have coming up. We'll have a big grand reopening. When we do reopen, how we function, we used to have limited hours. We were only open Wednesday through Saturday. We'll be open Wednesday through Sunday. Our hours will be expanded from 11 to 4. They'll now be 10 to 1700. And how we're going to do that is with the support of our volunteers. And our volunteers come through the Friends of the Fort Lewis Military Museum. And they've been phenomenal. If you meet me in the back, we have applications for the Friends, as well as I can answer any other questions that you have. Does anyone have any questions for me? Again, I'll be updating you monthly on what we have coming up, when the museum's going to come back open, and upcoming events. Does anyone have any questions for me? If not, please visit me in the back, and thank you very much for your time.
Here you see One March is our next one, and then some of the proposed topics that you have right here. I know we went long, but that was based off of some feedback and some information that you all wanted to hear. But it did go too long, and because I want to be able to manage it with regards to a lot of people had to leave because there's some other things going on. I'm late for something myself. But it's important to get this information back to you. Please fill out that feedback sheet so we can kind of help get the information out to you. So thank you very much.